Hello and welcome back to Explore Granada podcast, the show where we dive into the heart of a city that's as rich in history as it is in flavor, Granada. I'm Miguel, and with me, there's Stefano from Italy.
Hi.
So let's dive into this pretty interesting episode, talking about the differences between Spain and our own countries, Italy and Portugal. So I've heard Italian food is amazing, but what makes it so special? What are the differences between it and Spanish food?
Yeah, Italian food is awesome. Italy is the land of pizza, pasta, and gelato, a fancy way to say ice cream. Think about the classic margherita for Naples or a carbonara for Rome. They are so pretty simple dishes, but Italians get mad if they are not done in the right way. Italian food is all about quality and freshness. While I've seen that Spain's care about sharing, think about tapas. If you go to some not so fancy bar with a simple alcoholic or not drink, you will get something to eat for free, and you can also choose your tapas. This isn't a thing in Italy. Usually, if you get something to drink in the evening, which we call aperitivo, you will pay so much and only get some potato chips, olives, and stuff like that.
And what about history? I know that Italy has got some crazy history, but is it really that different compared to Spanish history?
Yeah, Italy's history is absurd. Like I think of the gladiators fighting the Colosseum in Rome, or about the canals vines. Italy had some genius like Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, who invented the helicopter. Every Italian street is full of history. Spain has got an epic history too. It has got a lot of cultures going around. Think about the Alhambra in Granada, where you can see the influence of the Moors. Or think about the flamenco dance going around in the street, that have got so many years of history behind. Both countries have got some crazy history, but Italy looks more like a museum, where in every single street you can find history.
So it looks like Italy is a more romantic city. And talking about that, what's the difference between the languages? I've seen that a lot of people mistake Italian for Spanish and vice versa.
Well, true. Italy and Spain sound very similar, but they are not. There surely are some similarities because at the end of the day they are Latin language. Italy and Spain language are similar to Portuguese. To for
Yeah.
example, the main difference I think is the use of dialect. In Italy, every region, city, or even village can have a different diet. For example, some friends of mine who live at 3 kilometers away from me have a different diet than mine. To be honest, I don't know much about the Spanish language. I know that Spain has some different language depending of the region, like Catalan in Barcelona and Castilian in Granada. They've got dialect too. I guess I like the Andalusian one where they drop the S at the end of the phrase. But what about Portugal? I think it's a lot more similar to Spain since they're both in the Iberian Peninsula. What is the difference between Spanish culture and Portuguese culture?
Right. Although many people, mostly those who aren't from Europe, mistake Spain and Portugal, and can even think they are the same, this couldn't be further from the truth. Of course, the two have some similarities, since they border each other in the Iberic Peninsula and have a long history with each other. They once made a deal to split up the whole world with each other, which is crazy, right?
Yeah, so Spain has tapas and we Italy have aperitivo. Does Portugal have something similar?
So, unlike Spain, we in Portugal are not that friendly in regards to snacks. What you buy is what you get. The closest thing we the closest thing we would have to tapas are entradas. But those are only available if you get a whole meal at a restaurant. These are just for you to try and contain your hunger, with usually some bread, olives, and an assortment of things to spread on the bread, like salted butter and different pates, which are kind of like butter but made of meat, if you didn't know.
I see. You mentioned getting meals at the restaurant. What kind of traditional food do you have in Portugal?
Yeah, Portuguese food is great. Although it's not as well known as Italian food around the world, almost everyone who tries some gets surprised by how good it is. I think the ultimate Portuguese dish everyone should try is the francesinha, which literally translates to little French. This is because this dish originated by kind of remixing a French sandwich. And the francesinha is basically a sandwich with bread and many kinds of meat, with melted cheese on top of it, and all of it is covered in the francesinha sauce, which people love to death. It's usually served with a fried egg on top, and can be served with fries on the side too. Other than that, we also have the cozida portuguesa, which is a half soup dish with tons of meat and vegetables, the canja, which is a light soup with chicken and rice or pasta, and the best Portuguese sweet, the pastel de nata.
Wow, Portuguese food seems simple, but a bit that is why it's so good, alright?
Exactly, at least for me. As for history, I'd say the best part about Portugal's history is the discovery era. Portugal was a beast at conquering new seas and land, along with Spain back in the day. We discovered a lot of trade routes along the seas, to Africa, for example, and later we discovered Brazil, who would later separate itself from Portugal and declare independence.
Interesting. It's amazing how every country in Europe has their own things going on.
So that was it for this episode. We've analyzed the differences between Spain and our countries, Italy and Portugal, and we found many similarities and many differences. But at the end of the day, that's the point of traveling, isn't it? Talking about that, we hope that you've liked this podcast and that it inspired you and helped you travel in Granada. That's all for this episode. We hope you enjoyed exploring Granada with us and learned a thing or two about it. Bye from Miguel.
And bye from Stefano. See ya!